1, 2, 3, oh, 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 Back in 82, I was young and proud, a little obnoxious and a bit too loud. Now give me 5 to 2. Back in 82, head down to my shoulder, size 28 jeans, my head filled with glory of rock and roll dreams, do what I wanted to do. Back in 82, here we go. Well, I tried to fit in, but I had to be me. There was a great big world that I needed to see. Yeah, made mistakes like every schoolboy do. Watched movies at the Rib every Friday night. Drank my Southern Comfort, smoked my Marlboro Lights. Yeah, the world was new. Back in 82, back in 82, I thought I knew about love, but I was much too young and not strong enough to see things through. Back in 82, oh, 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 here we go. I made lifelong friends who still stay in touch. Even say I to the ones I never cared for that much. It's funny how time changes your point of view. Blink your eye and your life goes by so fast. I learned that this world could kick my ass a time or two. Yeah, but I made it through. Let's raise a glass and have a drink one last time. Let us think about the times we knew. Back in 82, one more, and let's remember too. There's still so much left to do. Here we go. Oh, 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 all right. Welcome to Hanging with Hastings and a very special episode we're doing tonight. I'm here with my buddy and lifelong friend, Mike Conley. We're going to discuss some old times together. We're going to discuss some cool things that Mike does down here in his beautiful man cave. Michael,
Yes.
your beautiful man cave.
Yes.
We were down here, a couple weeks ago, just listening to tunes. And what were we talking about? You got his picture on the wall there.
Yeah.
Tom Petty,
Tom
we had
Petty.
him cranked. And you said to me, now this struck me, kind of surprised me,
Yeah.
that now Tom Petty's your number one. Or pretty close?
He's up there. So you listen to music your entire life, and
It changes.
It changes, but he's never changed. He's been around since the 80s,
Forever,
right?
right.
And just kept going, and the more and
70s.
more. Well, yeah,
First
you're
couple
right.
albums came out in 70. I think Damn the Torpedoes was 79.
Was it really? Oh, my
Yeah.
goodness, yeah. So time flies.
Yeah.
So, so you just, just sitting and hearing it on the radio, going, man, I love that song. Oh, I love that song. I love that song. And it's just like
He doesn't have
there's
a bad
dozens
song.
of songs that I love by this guy, and it's just, he just turned into.
I did a tribute to
I
him.
turned into a bigger fan than I really thought I was.
Right. I did a tribute to him about 2 weeks ago on the Hanging with Hastings thing, and my Elton John and Bruce are my interchangeable number 1 and 2.
Right.
But I always had a war in myself, like, what's my number? Who's number 3? Because my top 10 has probably got 20 people in it.
Right.
But I thought about it long and hard, and we have that satellite radio.
Yep.
And I automatically, when we jump in the car, I go to the Tom Petty channel. It's in between the Bruce. Elton's not on the one we have, so it's either Bruce or Tom Petty almost constantly on. and then I don't even think about it. So I just said to myself, "Oh damn, Tom Petty's my number 3 then." But anyway, long-winded version of that story is that we just sat there. One of the best stereo systems I ever heard, and that Mike has got it made down here. This is a man's wet dream right down here, right here.
That's where I live.
So you got your
Didn't happen all at once.
You got your game system. You got your movies.
Yeah.
You got your music. I see your guitar collection hanging up. I mean, it's everything a guy could want.
Yeah.
And surround sound too.
I used to have surround sound, but I went to stereo, so I focused more on music.
Yeah.
So it was more movies at one time.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so these their speakers here and in the back there, they're not hooked up to anything.
I was just thinking when we were talking back when it was like that. I think we filmed. Remember, I was doing the Facebook shows, and I think it was the last time that we actually played with Brian was down here in the basement.
Yeah.
Remember, we had Keith that was playing saxophone, and Brian. He had gone. I remember that day. He had just got out of the hospital, and he tried to put on that brave face and stuff. But he was in a lot of pain. But that was the last time that we actually played with him, where he was, before the end.
Right.
And that.
Right.
So
he was happy to be here. It was nice.
It was great to be able to do it.
It was great to get together and.
Yeah. And I'm glad I have that. I actually interviewed him maybe 6 months before he died. We did a thing in his parents' basement, where we used to practice and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm so glad I got that video
awesome.
with me, and it's on our.
Awesome.
I actually put it on our Hanging with Hastings page, whatever you want to call it. In the section of our channel.
One of the funniest things I remember walking into a customer's office. I forgot who it was, somewhere in Niagara Falls area. Mm-hmm. And I'm standing in the office, and I turn around, and there's a picture of Brian on the wall and his Buddy Holly get up.
Awesome.
And they were a fan of Buddy Holly and obviously a fan of Brian. And it was just, man, what a small world we walk in this.
He just had so much talent.
Yeah.
He did so much. I was just so proud to be with him for all those years and to write the songs with him. And So, and if anyone doesn't know out there, Mike is one of the founding fathers of what would go on to be called, we call it whenever we have our reunions and get-togethers, we call it Hastings Band now, and it's been that way for since the 90s. But when we originally started in 1981, it was Southern Comfort, right?
I wonder why.
It was our drink. I was saying Randy's thing. I was telling him, hey, we were back then, you're 17, 18 years old. It was 18 years old. It was legal to drink. And then I thought about it a second. I go, but that doesn't count for Mike and Shane being 15.
Yeah.
So we had problems. But Mike was one of the founding fathers, and he was in the original group from 81 to 85. And then when we made Cold December, the end of 2004 and 2005, Mike came by and has been with us every time since whenever we get together.
Yeah. Well, we started with 4 guitar players?
Yes. Yeah, we told that story. Yeah. Everybody played guitar. Yeah, we told the story about how we met you with Michelle. I think we had a problem with one of the guitars or the amps, and your sister Michelle said, hey, my dad and brother play. Maybe they could help you out, and that's how we met you.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
Right, and all those years at the barn, it was great. Yeah. Those times were wonderful times, and that song back in '82 was basically an autobiography of us and of those days, those early days. And more trivia, we recorded that album, and that was the last album that we recorded with the full band, with Brian and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And we recorded it right down here in your home studio.
That's right. I had the electric drums and
a lot of great memories. Yeah, Brian played drums and guitar on that. Yeah. And so that was the title track of that album. What we did is I had 2 new songs that kind of fit the concept that I wanted it to be. And then we recorded songs that we wrote in 81 and 82 that I'd never recorded before. And it kind of told the story. All those songs, School Song and all those told the story of us. So it really fit together. So I thought that if we were going to make a last full album with everybody, I thought that was it was a good one to make because because it was about it was our story.
That was fun too. It was really fun.
Yeah, I remember you putting a car crash.
I was downloading sounds. And,
right.
Yeah,
the album starts back in '82 where I'm turning the car on, and then it ends with the car crashing. So Mike and I
gotta say something.
Oh, go.
We were talking about diets and all that.
Before we went on.
So the part of the lyrics of back in '82 is your size 28 jeans.
28 jeans.
Holy shit!
I can't
remember last time. I think I graduated wearing 30 or 30.
I'm in 38s right now, so I got like 10 sizes. I got to go down. But 15 pounds or so. I got about 40, 45 pounds I want to lose more. It'll happen. It'll happen. Baby steps. Yeah, it took 4 years to put this crap on. I'm not going to get rid of it.
Long at all, man.
I'm not going to get rid of it in 10 minutes.
It's a constant struggle.
But yeah, so I want to before we do the next song, I want to talk about some of the things Mike's been doing, and I want you to explain. I'm looking at the Star Wars thing that he made, and we'll show you how you're making these.
Well, I'm printing them on a 3D printer.
I don't understand this.
Somebody's designed them already, right?
Right.
So, but I got to put them in software and kind of manipulate it to the printer and make things happen, and it just sits there and melts plastic in a certain. With one layer at a time, and it just goes. Does one layer, moves up, does another layer until, bam, you got pieces and parts like those over there. You can snap them together and make bigger pieces.
It's crazy.
It's pretty cool.
When I think of a printer, I think of like Diane making like our what do you call it? Our schedules that we hand out where we're playing and stuff like that on a little piece of paper. I don't think. And you're making helmets. You're making airplanes. You're making stormtroopers.
Star Wars.
Star Wars
stuff has been the latest. Yeah, for sure.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So, and then besides that, Mike also makes his own beer. Now, how do you do this? Now, what are the flavors? What is your favorite kind of beer?
There is no favorite. Just like there's no favorite music. I mean, there's populars, but I like a good pale ale. I like a good pilsner, a nice light pilsner with some slight hoppy flavor. And
so you're like a bootlegger.
It's legal.
It's legal.
So yeah.
How strong you think the beer? He's making them right now. I wanted to actually sample, like one of his beers right on camera, but he's brewing it now.
The last time you were over, and my cousin Tom and everybody else was over, we drank it all. We finished it that night. So me and my cousin Tom comes over and helps me. And
we tend to do that.
2 weeks ago, we brewed a pale ale. It's in the fermenter now. I'll be kegging it probably next week, and it'll be ready in a couple weeks.
Well, we might have to do an update.
For sure.
All right, this is a song I wrote in 1998 that is about my father. Now, the story behind this was my father had passed away, and at the time, I had my alarm set. My kids were real little, and I used to have to get up really early in the morning. So I had my alarm set at like 5:30 in the morning. And I had this dream. I fell asleep on the couch, and I had this dream that my father came to me, and it was we talked about all these things that we hadn't talked about before he passed away. And it was so real. I mean, it felt like he was sitting on the couch right next to me. And then at the very end, he said that he wasn't. He was going to be able to look after us all, but he wasn't going to be around anymore, like where I wouldn't see him or anything, because he had something else to do that he had to do. And he said goodbye, and he kissed me on the forehead, and I swear to God, I felt it. And then he kind of just like evaporated. And the second, like if you think of a fade out in a movie or something, the second he was gone, the alarm went off. And I'm like, when does that ever happen in a dream? You know, you always have this lifelike dream, and then halfway through it, the alarm goes off, and you can never get back. You think the next day I'll get back to that dream, and you can never get back to it.
Never.
This was, you couldn't have timed it. So part of me feels that this really happened, and it was my dad saying goodbye to me. And that day I was doing my rounds, and I was on Southwestern Boulevard in Orchard Park, and I wrote this song. And Randy and Brian and I recorded it in our little home studio that very night for the first time. There's probably like 2 or 3 recordings of this song that we've made over the years, But
who wrote the guitar part? Was it
that? Well, I just said, you know me. I'm like, it's an A, and then Brian was kind of like just
so it was Brian
strumming at the
finger killing
part like that. Yeah. So we're gonna start it off with Mike on it, and I'll join in. This is a song called "My Best to You," and it's for anyone you ever lost a family member, or a parent, or friend, whatever. This is for you. Last night as I lay sleeping, my father came to me through a line, and he kissed me on the forehead, said everything will be alright. There's so many things I need to say to you. He said sometimes I know I hurt you, sometimes I wasn't there. Didn't mean I didn't love you, didn't mean I didn't care. I made mistakes, I made quite a few, but I did what I could do, and I gave my best to you. He said, take care of your mama, let her know she's not alone. Takes more than a postcard, takes more than a phone. She was the one who did the things I couldn't do. Darling, I'm thankful she stood right by my side. I know how much it hurt her the day that I died. Tell her I know she did everything she could do. And when you were a child, she always gave her best to you. Here we go. And I dreamed that I was floating, and I dreamed that I died. All the pain and the anger I felt deep inside, threw out of my body to the darkness it was hurled, and I thought of my boy and my girl. So now my little children, my daughter and my son, I know this world's confusing and your life has just begun. There's so many things you've had to live through, in a world filled with hatred, of jealousy and lies. I never knew how love existed till I looked into your eyes, and I knew right then all my dreams had come true. And with all of my heart, I give my best to you. And with all of my heart, give my best to you. And with all of my heart, I'll give my best to you. I thought he was gonna keep playing.
No. Well,
That was
we
good,
weren't
Andy.
sure how. When I practiced
gonna-
it, that's how I ended it. Because I wasn't real. I forgot you were playing piano.
Yeah. That's all right. That's all right. That was a nice touching ending to it too. We used to rock it out sometimes.
Yeah,
too,
well,
it's hard to rock out unplugged.
It turns it up, and definitely.
Yeah. But, oh man, that song still now.
It's one of my favorite songs to play. It's emotional, relatable, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and especially as we get to our ages now, everybody's had that loss, and it's part of life. But what I like about the song too is it talks about my children, and so with the loss, it also talks about life, kind of like back in '82, in the line where it says, "There's still so much left to do." And this one, you're talking about my children, and there's still, as my father's gone, the next generation goes, and that's just part of life. And man, but can you believe 1981? That's 43 years ago. Diana, my wife, was only 5 years old, 6 years old. I would have got in a lot of trouble back then.
Yeah, we were piss pots. Yeah, we weren't bad. We had our problems, but
I think we were all right kids.
Yeah.
When we did our partying and stuff, it was always contained. We weren't going out.
Yeah, we
breaking
weren't
stuff.
We weren't hoodlums.
Right.
Yeah.
We would party. We'd play our music. Well, I think part of it was because we were playing music all the time.
We were polite drunks.
Right, we were. And your folks in it always made sure that that there wasn't trouble. And
nobody was driving if they were drinking.
Right. We used to stay. In fact, it was always funny. Like his folks would have this deal with us that we could do this, we could play quarters or have our little party, but if we stayed overnight, we had to go to church the next day.
Right.
So we didn't mind going to church because we knew right after church we were going to Pizza Junction.
Yeah.
And they would buy his huge
sheet
pizza with the
50
fingers.
Wings and fingers.
Oh
my goodness.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
And I remember that fridge you guys had too. Full of cube steaks.
A whole freezer, a stand-up freezer full of
cube steaks. And we used to. Was that one of the first microwaves or something back then, or?
No,
then we used to nuke them.
We had a microwave.
We had
a microwave, but it wasn't one of the first ones.
I can't remember when microwaves came along.
They came out in the '60s.
Did they?
Yeah.
All I remember is we used it for those cube steaks, and your sister used to melt the cheese on it. Oh. Yeah. Back in the day where I could eat whatever the hell I wanted to and be 138 pounds.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
You were go all day. Nowadays it's different.
Yeah, we did. And your pool, we used to swim in the pool all the time.
Yeah.
And Mike's house growing up, it was right, if anybody remembers Casada's Dome Stadium, and that was kind of big back in those days, and his backyard was basically their parking lot.
Yeah.
And it was what separated your house on Main Street from Randy lived on Catherine, and that's where the barn was. So we just had to walk it through the backyard, and we'd either be at Mike's house or in the barn. Yeah. So, I thought it was a great way to grow up. I remember our neighborhood, we talked about this with Randy too, like we had the light show, and we would have neighborhood concerts where all the kids, they started gathering. That's where we had a lot of our parties, and that was because they'd come and we'd do a concert and hang out with the kids. And for the most part we didn't get, sometimes the cops would get called if we were too loud.
Too late.
But it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it wasn't rowdy, it was just loud.
I do remember one party where Randy, remember he lived next to it was Shane's cousin Lane.
Yep.
And next to him was that Joe Forward guy.
Oh yeah.
And we were at the party, and Joe Forward got mad at Randy about something, and I came walking by, and Randy, he had him upside down on that back balcony that he had.
Yeah.
And Mr. Barnard came out, and he was like, and then he blamed me. Like, he's like, put him down and put, not that way. Bring him up, then put him down. And stuff. And then afterwards, he's like, Hastings, how could you let this happen? I'm like,
how could I let that? Like you were gonna, what were you gonna do?
I remember another time where Shane got in trouble because we used to practice at his house once in a while.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And we did something wrong there, and then his mom Phyllis came in and goes, Hastings, how did you let this happen? I was always getting the brunt of it all. For some reason.
Do you remember practicing in my parents' basement?
I do.
My parents' basement would be so loud, and my dad would be upstairs listening to TV. He had the TV full blast, and we'd get done practicing going upstairs, and he still had the TV full blast because we were so loud.
Well, your dad was our original bass player at first when you talk about having four guitar players. Because I've told the story so many times where we drew straws and Shane lost. So he had to become Yeah, and now he's like a great bass player. We did him a favor.
That's right.
So
I don't want to
You're welcome, Shane. No, but that was great. I just, oh my goodness. Not only do I remember playing in your basement and that, but I remember playing in the living room.
Yes, I remember that too.
And I remember making
Brian's
like a
Marshall stack squealing and
the
noise.
PD, you guys.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
I remember making a recording of those original songs because we thought, we're gonna make a demo. It was basically like a. We were so naive with stuff. A little tape recording and like in the room and that, and here it is. We're gonna be superstars now.
Rock and roll, baby.
Yeah, but it was unique also is that we were playing bars when the first thing was where we did the Battle of the Band stuff, and then we did. I remember a concert in the junior high, and we started off and Fletcher.
The Fletcher Follies.
Where I called your dad. I can say this. That's I called him Tits.
We
called him Tex because he always wore a cowboy hat. And I was so excited after the show. I'm like, "Hey, Tits! I mean Tex!"
Yeah, remember we did something at the junior high too.
We had the Battle of the Bands that we actually won.
Okay, yeah.
But the judges and that it was corrupt.
Well, it was,
and they didn't want to exclude anybody, I guess. So the other band they said it was a tie.
Everybody wins, right?
Yeah, so they said it was a tie, and we went on one side, and they went on the other side, and and that. But now that's an apartment building, the junior high.
Yeah.
And that, but yeah,
we
that
did
was
the first Canal Fest. Everything.
The very first. Well, even before the Canal Fest, in 1982, we played down at the river.
Yeah,
the band shell when it was like that blue egg shell like looking thing.
It was the metal one, wasn't it?
Yeah, metal, and. That was the one I told that story with Randy too, where Joe Bacon got beat up, and then those guys were going to come and try to beat us up, and they never did. All that stuff, the stuff that we do when we're teenagers.
Was that O'Hara?
O'Hara guys.
Thing?
Yep. I remember Randy pumping iron at your house. Go get ready. We're in a rumble.
Yeah. Nothing happened.
Yeah, nothing happened. But yeah, we played there before. That was the year before the first Canal Fest, and then we played the first Canal Fest, and there was like over 4,000 people at that first one.
We promoted that really well. I remember we printed out flyers. We were driving around just handing them out.
All over
everywhere.
And then we were Tom Hastings and Tricks. And we also were Nightwing before that.
Tricks are for kids.
Right.
Somebody yelled that.
Somebody yelled it out all the time. And before that, I remember we did a show there was like a arcade or something when we were Nightwing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
And we opened up like some arcade.
Yeah.
Or whatever, and
it was military.
Because we couldn't be Southern Comfort because we had to change it because people thought the copyright stuff with
if we ever got big,
the booze so we changed it somehow to Nightwing, and then it went to Tricks, and then it was the Quest, and then it was Tom Hastings and the Downtown Rebels, and then Shane said, screw it, let's just call it Hastings, and that was like in '91, and then we've kept that from now
ever
on.
Since,
yeah. But, I still, regardless of the names, I just always consider it the band, that was the original stuff. Yeah. And I'm most proud that, all these years, as I said, 43 years later, and we all still get together on some regular basis. It might be 2-3 months or something, but we were able to build up that friendship where you can be away for 2 or 3 months, and then you pick up the conversation.
Yeah, never,
Yeah, finish each other's sentences.
Yeah.
And I was lucky I did that.
transitions.
I did that with my St. Francis friends I went to school with before I met you guys, in kindergarten through 8th grade. People go to the high school reunions and that, and I thought, I've seen those, but I wonder what happened to the guys I went to a Catholic school, and I wonder what happened to those people. And
It's not even a school anymore, is it?
It's not a school anymore, no. But and I've heard that the church might even close down too, and that they already have they bring in priests or something
Yeah.
But anyway, I just put a thing on Facebook about I wonder what these people are up to now, and then it turned into this reunion. We even had our 5th grade teacher who we had a crush on, back then. She came. And she cried. No, she was Miss Buffamani was her name, and she cried because she was only like 21 when we were her first job.
Really?
And she couldn't believe that we remembered her.
Huh.
And I was like, remember, you were my first.
Spank bank.
I just remember going, I want one of those. And, 4 marriages later, thank you, Miss Buffamani.
Yeah.
No,
but
But I just got together on Wednesday with a bunch of those guys, and now we've rekindled our friendship and that too. And I think that's something that's really important. Keeping your friendships, and we all move forward in life, and we all do our things. But I really think it's always great to remember where you came from and who you are, because that's really the time that forms you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That the person that you become eventually, I think, was formed during our years together.
Is there for sure.
In that, and it's always a kick to get together and jam, and to see everybody. I wish we could do it more often. I'd like to. I'm gonna put this out to Randy sees this and Shane sees it, and you'll see it now. And I'd like to. I would like to find a day that we could make like a Brian Best Memorial Day, and we don't have to go into a bar. It doesn't have to be at a bar. It could be at like a park, like we had Randy's 60th birthday, or it could, we could invite other people that Brian played with, or we could do it at a bar somewhere, or wherever, or we could just get together at someone's house or something and film it and just have at least once a year. Have a Brian Best Memorial Day, and where we can remember him and remember each other, and that too, and celebrate some just wonderful times together.
Still be friends.
Yeah, still being friends. That's a special thing. Yeah. And we're gonna finish this off with a song. This is gonna be a cover of a Neil Young song, and the reason we're doing this is because we told you about the parties that we had. And at the end of the night, we used to always like mellow out at the end. And I remember Simon and Garfunkel's Central Park album just came out, and it was always on HBO.
Yeah, that was amazing.
The Elton John, remember that was a big album, Jump Up with Empty Garden, and we listened to that all the time. And his Central Park concert was on HBO all the time. They wore the duck suit and everything. But the Simon and Garfunkel one, that was our mellow out. We'd listen sometimes to The Wall, but always to Simon and Garfunkel. And then your dad would be sitting on the couch, and I can still picture him with his guitar on the couch strumming this song. So I think we usually do this at our reunion shows too, whenever we get together, in tribute to Tex, and in tribute to, again, we like to give thanks to our elders that put up with our stuff, not only Mike's family, but Randy's parents, who are both gone. They let us go into the barn and do all this stuff that we did, the silly stuff that we did. Yep. Shane's folks, Hank and Phyllis, let us go to their house. Mr. and Mrs. Best, both of them are gone now. We used to go in their garage and practice. So, and my parents, well, they let me be in a band, I guess. We didn't have the room in ours to have a full. I guess we could have, but they would have been angry. Yeah. They were the older folks. Yeah. You guys were the younger parents. Yeah. My folks, they were almost 40 when I was born, so I always had the old parents, But my mom, God bless, lived in 91, in their 90s, so, So anyway, we're going to do this song and dedicate it to all those guys, and especially to Tex for letting us be who we were and letting us express ourselves. And thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe. Tell your friends about it. Share the video. Like and subscribe, man. And I'm going to share it on his, and at least his wife, because you don't go on to Facebook, do you?
I don't do any social media.
Yeah, so I'm going to do it on his wife, and I'm going to have her share it too. And like and subscribe our channel. We're trying to grow it. We're trying to do some special things with it. I'm going to be doing an interview like this with a friend of mine, Tom Joyce, who wrote a book of poetry. That's going to be coming up very soon. I'm going to do a Bruce Springsteen tribute and an Elton John tribute, and I've got a couple other musical guests that I have in mind that I would like to do something like this with as well. So, and we will also be posting our diet results and stuff like that, because I'm trying to keep on the right path. And as long as I make these little 5-minute videos, I feel like, well, I have to stick to it, or else they're going to say, Tom's a fat ass again.
It's being documented.
So that keeps me, it might be a pain in the butt. If it is, I'm sorry, but it's helping keep me in line. So we'll be doing all that. We'll keep doing our songs of the week. And in fact, I'm going to probably edit one of these songs into our song of the week for next week as well. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. And Mike's going to do this on his own. I'll sing it. and we're going to do a little needle into damage done. I caught you knocking on the cellar door. I love you, baby, can I have some more? Oh, the damage done. I hit the city and I lost my band. I watched the needle take another man. Gone, no, the damage done. I sing the song because I love